Okay. I'm here with my favorite, Nikki
Here's my
Burdine.
favorite.
Hi.
Or comfy cozy.
Well, I texted Nikki and I was like, can we please, do you want to wear comfy clothes? And you're
Yes.
like, yes.
I always want to wear comfy clothes.
Well, because you have to dress up, you have to dress up every day.
Yeah, like heels and all of that. Yeah, so I almost feel like clothes can be overstimulating. Do you feel like that?
Well, I don't dress up. So I kind of get
always do when I have
excited
to.
when I, well, you dress up because you're the anchor
Yeah,
of News
yeah,
Channel
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Everyone, this is the face of Nashville, Nikki Burdine. Welcome, welcome.
If you watch the news.
I mean, I do not watch the news, but
No.
I love the news because of you. I'll have you go right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you dress up every day.
I do. Yeah. So it's almost like when I'm not at work, the second I get home, my clothes I feel so overstimulated. So I take off my jewelry, I take off my bra, I take off and I'm sweats. So this is me.
What is your routine?
In the mornings, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually am very strict about my routine because sleep is so important to me. And I go to bed, we'll start there. I go to bed at about 7 p.m. before my daughter does. My husband puts her to bed. And I wake up at about 2:40 and I am out the door.
2:40
Yes.
in the morning.
Yes.
So you're in bed by 7:30?
7 o'clock.
7
Yeah.
o'clock. Is it hard to make yourself go to sleep at 7?
No. Aren't you tired all the time?
Not at 7,
my
but
gosh,
I go to
I
bed
am.
at 9:30. But I also sleep till 7. So
Yeah.
it's kind of,
It's the same
but no, it's not. You get less. 2:30?
Yeah.
Why 2:30?
because I have to be at work at 3.
You have to be at 3,
Mhm.
but you don't come in ready.
No. So I do.
Do you pack your bag the night before?
Pack everything the night before. It's all sitting by the front door. I shower the night before. So literally when I wake up, all I have to do is brush my teeth, wash my face, put on my skincare and get dressed and I'm out the door. And I mean, I'm probably up and out the door in 10 minutes
Okay.
and get to work. And then
So
I
you
do
just
my
pop
makeup
right up.
there. Yeah. No,
Okay.
no, I snooze for half an hour.
You do?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you wake up at 2.
Yeah. No, I start the process then, but yeah, I'm not out of bed till 2:45.
Does it wake Justin up?
No, you would think it. I guess because we've been together for so long, he's probably used to it.
How long have y'all been together?
We've been together. We've been we started dating in 2007.
Okay. Michael and I were 2008.
See, but we've only been married 10 years.
Same. 10 years. Because y'all just had your 10 year.
Yeah, September.
What did y'all do for it?
Went to Cabo.
So fun.
It was really
Just
fun.
y'all two or Andy too?
It was just us two, but then my sister and her fiance went. You know, because when you've been married that long, you're like, you can hang for so long, but then you want another couple, you want friends.
I'm like, Michael and I have talked about everything. We
Yes.
always have things to talk about and we always
Yeah.
have ongoing conversations.
Yes.
But it's like, yes, it is so nice to have friends to hang out with too.
Yes.
We know every little bit about each other.
We'll be each other's travel companions
Well,
now.
not because you're my neighbor.
Yes.
And it's just so good because not only do we get along so great,
Yeah.
Justin and Michael get along,
Mhm.
and our daughters are the exact same age,
It's really perfect.
and we're only child moms.
It's perfect.
I know.
We're so lucky. It's God
so
saw
thankful.
both of us, and He was like, "That's a good match."
I'm like, but you're like my favorite.
Ditto.
I'm like, literally, how have I not been better friends with you before? Because I've known you for
life.
so long, but I've never now we're like, oh my God, I'm obsessed
know.
with you.
Ditto. I feel the same way.
Okay, great.
And
I'm glad
when
it's
you
not just
said
me.
Justin and Michael get along, it is true. My husband knows this, so I'm not talking bad about him. He doesn't like a lot of people,
Why not?
but I think that's a good quality. I love everyone until you prove me wrong, and I usually do get taken advantage of quite a bit
You
because
do?
of that. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just I love everyone. My sister calls me the collector of stray cats because I'm like, yes, the more the merrier, come in. And I'm trying to learn boundaries better. But my husband is the opposite. He's like, no, I don't like that person. But he actually adores Michael. And he has said that multiple times. He's like, that's a great guy. And if Justin says that, then you're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we didn't even know how tight cutthroat this was, but I'm so glad he slid through the cracks.
It is. I mean, it's a good
But
thing
Justin's
to be
so
discerning.
nice.
He is. He is.
When
But
he
he's
lets you in,
selective
he's so
of his
nice.
people.
Well, you know what? That's good.
I think it
He
is.
conserves his energy.
Yeah, he does.
I have been a chronic people pleaser my entire life.
Same.
But not anymore.
I'm working on it too.
I had a life
Yeah.
coach. I hired a life coach when I was 38 years old.
Really?
And then I have done extreme therapy measures to get to the root of my issues, which is I'm a high functioning codependent person, which means I walk into a room, not anymore,
Yeah.
and I need to make sure everybody's happy and
Yeah.
everybody's happy with me. And if you are not, if your vibes are off and if you're not feeling my vibes, then
You need
I'm
to
going
fix
to
it.
fix it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be up in your face, getting to know you, wondering what's going on, getting to the root of your issue, trying to make you happy, to make sure that you walk away feeling happy and that you love me.
I feel like I'm like that a little bit.
But it finally wore me out.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting. I'm getting better at that. I definitely used to be like that, especially with the TV news, because when people would send me mean comments, I would like try to convince them like, no, like I'm a nice person. Like you would like me.
People are coming after you.
They're awful. I mean, I'm sure you get it too.
No, not like you.
I mean,
not
everyone gets it. If you have any sort of online or on air, like any sort of public persona, like people are going to attack you.
Do you get it on the regular?
You know what? Since I became a mom, it's been a lot easier.
Really?
Yes.
What did people used to say, and why are they nicer now?
I think they used to say things like mostly about my appearance, you know, like, you always remember the mean comments. Like somebody called me lunch lady arms.
Lunch lady arms?
I had fat arms. And of course, like that's your, everybody has their own thing. Like, of course, my arms are my insecurity. And I know that's ridiculous and stupid.
We all have our things.
We all have our things. And I recognize
lunch lady arms, though. I mean, what a
Isn't that
insult.
awful? And then one guy sent me a tweet that was like, the fact that someone married you is shocking. The fact that someone impregnated you is shocking. And the fact that you have a job being on TV is even more shocking, kind of thing. Like, people say really mean things. One lady told me I was going to hell because I wore a sleeveless dress on TV. So my old instinct back in the day would be to like convince these people to like find their profile and message them or email them back, like almost like shaming them at first for making them feel bad about that, and then convincing them like, no, I'm a nice person. Like you would like me.
So you would shame them first and then convince them?
Yeah, almost make them feel bad about like you're a jerk for thinking that, because they are.
Yeah.
Or not jerk for thinking
saying
that, for saying it. Anyway, you can think whatever you want.
Right. For taking the time to write you a mean comment to someone they don't know.
And to make me feel bad.
It's totally
about
a jerk.
myself.
That's a jerk.
Yeah, because their one sole purpose in that wasn't for change.
To hurt your feelings.
It was to hurt me.
Yeah.
Right. And so my purpose in doing that was to make them see the error in their ways and then convince them like, oh no, I'm a nice person. But it's not about me, it's about them.
Right.
And
it's
I don't really care
issue
anymore.
they have.
Yeah.
I know. Not my problem.
Not
my
problem.
I had this situation come up the other day where somebody actually like did something intentionally
To hurt you?
just to like take something away from me.
Who do I need to fight?
Well, I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God. And then I was like all pissed and I wanted to like fight them in my head. But then I was like, you know what? Not my issue.
No.
Not my problem. And not my bag of demons that I'm going to carry around. If someone's going to go out of their way to try to like take something from someone else for no other reason than they just don't want me to have it, but it's not making them get anything, then I'm like, okay, that's not my problem.
It's not.
It's not my problem that's what you're going to spend your time doing.
Yeah. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like, have you listened to Mel Robbins' Let Them?
Oh,
I know.
Mel Robbins, is she not changing the world
She's
with the Let
changing
Them?
the world.
Give people the idea of Let Them.
Let Them is a book, or I listen to audio tape. It's just about letting people have their thoughts, their feelings about you, about anything.
Their opinions about life.
Or even like the little inconveniences. I love the example that she gave that she was checking out at the grocery store and the lady checking out was being so slow and she was getting annoyed and she wanted to like complain. And then she was like, let them. Let this clerk be slow checking people out, because me getting frustrated and bitching about it and doing anything is not going to speed her up. Let me instead figure out how to deal with this anxiety and why I feel this way, and then respond in a better way and
so
use this time
simple
productively.
and so profound.
It is.
Game changer. And she talks a lot about family, because so many people
Yes.
have family dynamics. It's like, let your parents have their expectations of you. Let
Yes.
their parents have their own belief system that you don't have to necessarily agree with. Know when to check out of a conversation. If they
Yes.
get going on something, let them and just let me exit if I need to. You don't have to fight everyone, prove everyone.
You don't have to convince them that your way is the right way.
No. Let them keep their way.
But then I like how she said, the let them theory could be a very isolating way to live.
Because then you're not ever dealing with
you don't care about other people.
Right.
That's sociopathic behavior. But then the way she spun it and said, let them, but then let me, like really, that's something I need to work on, because sometimes I don't have an issue just being like, I don't care. But then you also need to self-reflect and like, let me fix this. And why does this bother me? And how can I resolve this?
Yeah.
And that is hard.
That is hard.
Yeah.
I've struggled lately because I've had like a close friend who's like gone through divorce, and it just like has totally torn our friend group apart, and I've been taking it all very personally and been very upset about how it's gone down, but it's not my problem.
It's not.
And it's like, how do you separate yourself from other people's stuff when it does affect you, but it's also, I guess that's the let me. It's like, okay, this like knowing boundaries, knowing how to step away, knowing how not to like try to meddle your way into a situation. And also like, you can't make people behave a way that you want them to.
Right.
And it's like, it's impossible.
And then if you do make them behave the way you want them to, is it really genuine? And is it really going to enact change in their life? No, because they're doing it just to appease you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, maturing is some tough shit, isn't it?
It's even more hard when you're doing it in front of a child, because then you're like, oh, I have to do this now. And now I have to teach this child.
I know. And now they're 5 and they're getting like their own brains. And like I was talking to you earlier. Well, see, Sunny is she just thinks about everything. Yeah. She's just like constantly analyzing everything. And she's like has so many thoughts coming in at one time. She doesn't know how to decipher them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't even know how to parent this, because like I feel like I have so many thoughts, but now I know how to like distinguish between them. But I guess when they all start hitting, you start waking up, that's overwhelming.
I'm sure. But can I just say something? Justin and I have talked about this before this summer when we started hanging out a whole lot more. Sunny is so emotionally mature. I mean, when I compare her to my daughter, I'm not going to, you don't compare, but of course you do. You think about it. And the way that she handles her emotions and her feelings is just remarkable. Like, you've done such a good job getting her to express how she feels. Too much. No, I think it's a good thing. It's remarkable.
Well, I appreciate that. And Andy is remarkable too. We have 2 incredible daughters.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to another question. And I'm not going to forget your schedule, because I want to go through the rest of your schedule, because it's a wild journey that you're on every day. But kind of leads me to this question I wanted to talk to you about. Do you think, we're both only child moms, do you think moms of only children usually end up that way for a reason? Or do you think it's a choice?
I think some women do choose. I know a couple of women at Andy's school who are only children moms by choice.
Really?
I know you and I, it was not a choice.
Right.
It was circumstances and things leading up to it, which we can talk about. But I know, I think it might be like 50-50.
You think so?
Yeah. I know a lot of women who is not by choice, though.
So what are the women who do it by choice? What do they say?
One of them that I know was an only child herself.
And she liked it.
She liked it and went into it with her husband, wanted to have an only child.
That's amazing.
And they were very happy with it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, I always have in the back of my head that there's something lingering out there.
I agree.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah. Not really because I have this desire to be a mom again to a new baby, but it's because I want to give her that, because I'm so close with my sisters.
I know, because you have 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And y'all are like the 3 freaking amigos. I mean, check out Nikki Burdine's Instagram. Y'all are hilarious. When y'all do your sister reels, I'm like, y'all are the most fun, and y'all all get along.
We do. I mean, it wasn't always like that.
But I don't feel like
with your siblings.
But y'all aren't like competitive. It doesn't feel like one is
not anymore.
Y'all are all beautiful, but I don't, sometimes there's like a power struggle, and like one's clearly the like, when you watch Encanto, there's like Isabella, who's like the beautiful one. Then there's like Luisa, who's the strong one. Then there's Maribel, who doesn't know what her gift is.
That's a great comparison.
But like everybody's kind of defined by like their one role. But I feel like y'all are all, it seems like there's not like a power struggle. I could be wrong.
I don't think there is.
I don't really know the other 2 that well.
I don't think so. I mean, we are classic, like I'm a classic oldest child. I seek out the attention and being the center of attention. And then the middle child, Laura, has always been like the most emotionally mature and supportive and type A and successful.
She just got
engaged. Just got engaged type of person. Supportive. Like, she's the one who does everything for everyone.
Has that worn on her, or does she have good boundaries?
I think she has good boundaries.
Good for Laura.
But I think she was single for so long, and then she found her person. So I think she is finally starting to be a little bit selfish, which of course I give her shit about. And I'm like, well, now that you got engaged, like, you're never here to babysit anymore. So like, that's great. Thanks, Michael. But I'm joking. I'm glad that she's selfish now. And then the youngest has 3 kids of her own. So she's just surviving.
But you said she like handles it like a champ. It doesn't even stress her out.
She is such a psychopath. I say that in a loving way. I love her so much. I say that to her face. I'm like, I don't know how you do this. Because you and I are kind of like this. Like, if things are going crazy in the kitchen and it's chaotic, I get like overstimulated. Yes. I'm like, okay, focus. Like, I cannot deal with this. I don't know how she does that.
Calm down. I need things to be organized.
Orderly. I need something. And she will I'll come over to her house, and there are like 2 dogs and then chickens doing something. And then like one kid is screaming and like throwing food on the wall, and she's got a baby on her hip, and the other one's like riding a motorcycle through the house. And she's like, what? I'm making you some pasta for dinner. What do you want? Do you like this? And I'm like, oh my God.
What is happening?
How are you doing this?
She's just like, this is great.
Some women, and I think that's God knowing, like, oh, she can handle this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I know. Okay, so do you feel like you've shut the door on another kid?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 41, and I know plenty of women have babies in their 40s, and that is amazing. But I just don't see myself getting pregnant at 41, having a baby at 42. I know it would be 43 now, because I'm almost 42. And my husband's also very much okay with having an only child.
And y'all went through, we had a podcast before, we talked about this, but y'all had a very intense pregnancy, and Andy came early, like very early. When was she born?
She was 28 weeks.
28 weeks.
And she weighed 1 pound. So that was the driving factor for us having an only child, because we'd always thought, like, we'll have one and see how it goes. And then I think both we realized, like, oh yeah, we want to give her a sibling, of course. But then when Andy's birth was so traumatic, and she spent 3 months in the hospital, and there were some times we didn't know if she was going to make it. Once we got her home and we figured out how to be parents to this little girl and realized that she's healthy and she's going to be fine, then we were like, okay, do we want to start this all over again? And the answer was, like, there was still a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
Not just for me, but I think for Justin too, because I talk about this a lot. I think all births are traumatic, right? Even if your birth is perfect.
It's a trauma.
It's trauma, right? We are usually the only ones who go through the trauma as moms. The dads don't usually go through with it, go through the trauma. They're kind of lucky that way. But I think with our situation, I think Justin dealt with a lot of the trauma because he was like the liaison. People didn't want to call me to check on Andy. Right. They didn't want to upset me, so they were calling him. And he was just like constantly inundated with kind, well-meaning requests from people, and then going back and forth to the hospital, and again, not knowing if your daughter's going to make it. It's a whole nother. So I think by the time we all realized, like, oh, we can do this again, it was like, but do we want to?
We just caught our breath.
Yeah.
We just are like actually
exhaling.
Yeah.
So
how big was Andy when she came home?
1 pound, 4 ounces.
When she came home?
No, I'm sorry. When she was born, she was 1 pound. When she came home, so one of the rules to come home from the NICU, your baby has to weigh 4 pounds. They have to be able to take a bottle on their own and breathe on breathe on their own or with oxygen.
Honestly, that's probably nice though that you have that support.
Totally.
Because like that would be terrifying if you had to figure out how to get them a bottle without the help.
Oh my gosh, no, yeah.
Yeah.
So they said she weighed 4 pounds, but I'm convinced one of the doctors like put a thumb down there, like, because they knew she was ready. She's just tiny. So yeah, she's probably a little under 4 pounds.
Was it nerve-wracking when she came home, or were you like ready for it?
I was so ready. I mean, of course I was nervous, but I was also kind of like, this is just the way it is. I didn't see her as small as everybody else did, but I remember taking her out a couple places and people be like, like almost like shocked, like, did she literally just come out of your body? Like, why do you have this newborn? And I'm like, oh no, she's 6 months old. Like, but I didn't see her that way. So
talk about tiny but mighty.
Yeah.
Andy has the most like energetic.
She has spunky
personality. In that little body, she has more personality packed in.
She does. She is feisty and spunky, and I love seeing her and Sunny together because Sunny's so tall and so beautiful, and you've got little Andy who is like
the most precious little thing ever.
I mean, Sunny looks like a 7-year-old.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And Andy looks like a 3-year-old.
Yeah. But they're like little besties.
They're the same.
Sunny was talking yesterday. We were on a walk, and she's like, "Mom, we've got to find walkie-talkies that stretch from my house to Andy's house so we can talk to each other and like we can talk back and forth, and then we can like always know if we can play and just like have them in our rooms." And I'm like,
I love that.
That's kind of the dream, right?
That is so sweet.
Okay, so it's gonna happen.
Yes, we got to find.
We're gonna be hanging out. Well, we were on a walk with our other neighbors, Sarah and John. And John was like, well, I have these walkie-talkies that stretch a mile. He's like, y'all can have them.
Perfect.
I'm like, okay, we're ready. We're in business here.
Oh, she's going to love that.
I know. I can't wait for y'all to move in this summer.
Too. Yeah, that's what they're telling us this summer. I just drove by and it
What's it like building a house?
It's a wonderful, it's stressed out. It's stressful. I don't want to complain about it because it is such a blessing to be able to do this. And it's the dream, but it's stressful and it's hard. Yeah.
What have been the stressful parts? And how do you even know what to put in there and what to leave out?
That's the thing. I don't like. I mean, you go through somebody's house and you're like, oh my gosh, I really like that. Yeah. And then you think like, oh, I got to remember to put that in. And then do you write it down? And then do you tell somebody like that? And they're like, okay, we can do that. And then you have a tile meeting about that lasts 4 hours just to pick out tile. And you're picking out for each bathroom. By the time you get to the last bathroom, like, I don't care.
How do you even know how they all match?
That's the thing. Because I know what I like, but then I'm like, oh, this doesn't go with that. This looks weird. I have like
I would
a
not
schizophrenic
trust
house.
I would have a schizophrenic house.
Yes.
I would be like, I have no idea. I would pick out all sorts of stuff and
Same.
they would not go like different themes. Like
yes.
Mid-Eastern or like a Mediterranean mixed with like shiplap.
Exactly. And that was what I was doing because I'm a true Gemini and I'm all over the place. So that's why you hire people who know you.
Did you hire someone to help you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's amazing. Her name's Stacy Advani Designs. If you ever need somebody to be like your project manager / designer / just
backboard.
Yeah. she does it all. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So what's been the most fun part?
Probably just like all the things that you think that you want to have in your dream home, being able to put those in there. Like all the things you're like, oh my gosh, one day we could do this.
So what were the one day things?
A heated floor in the bathroom.
What's that even going to be like? I'm coming over to your house all the time.
Amazing. I'm
and
so
a
excited.
sauna's coming in.
A sauna.
Which I'm also
Yes,
coming
we're going to have spa days.
Yes.
I'll walkie-talkie you to come over.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be really organized with all of our things.
And you have space for it.
Yeah. So those are all just little things that I'm excited
And what's
about.
going to happen in your office?
We're going to do a podcast in there.
In your office?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the podcast called?
Well, it's the one I've started with my friend Ashley, who we got scammed, and that's a whole other story. Ashley Houston, who many of y'all maybe know, Nashville Lifestyle. She's a dear
so
friend of ours.
follow.
We love her.
I love Ashley.
So hopefully we'll get that off the ground again. It's called Unfluential.
I love that.
But then I also want to start another one. Maybe I'll start with you. You want to do another one?
Well, what's it about?
I don't know.
Sure.
Why not?
I mean, why not? I mean, I love to chit chat.
Yeah.
We can just like check in weekly or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call it neighbors.
Neighbors.
Doesn't have to be serious.
I'll start we just talk about shoot the shit for the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can like practice right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so what's on your heart?
Oh my gosh.
What's going on with you
right now?
Are you feeling, how are you on your meter of like feeling good to stressed out to want to cry to want to jump for joy?
I go back and forth. I'm good right now, stressed out. I mean, I've got a lot going on, but
what's stressing you out?
Just I have a lot to do this weekend, and I kind of get stressed out if I don't have like built-in rest time because I commit to too many things.
Okay, like what do you commit to?
Are
your nights packed?
No, not usually. I mean,
because you're in bed at 7.
Yeah. Because I pick Andy up from school and we have activities, and then I'm usually in bed by 7. But when I commit to hosting events, which I love doing, I love being out in the community and doing things, but then that cuts down on my sleep. And do you need this? I need downtime.
Oh, yeah.
I need alone time, whether it be like zoning out and watching Law and Order or just like
Law and Order is the one.
I love Law and Order, or Real Housewives, or just, anything mindless.
Have you been following this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni scandal?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know who to
how is this
believe.
going to shake out?
I know.
I don't normally get into celebrity gossip, but I'm like, this is gnarly.
I know. Because I was convinced one way.
Me too.
But now I'm like, oh my gosh.
Me too. I know.
Who do we believe?
The trial's not till next year.
I know, right?
I'm like, how are we going to hang on this long?
We're going to have to hold our judgments until
And now
then.
Taylor Swift is involved.
I know.
She's like unfriending Blake Lively.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that.
Yes, she sent out a press release yesterday that she's taking a step back from Blake Lively.
Stop it right now.
On the Daily Mail. Yes. It's getting gnarly.
Wow. Well, hopefully she'll be getting married soon and she'll be busy.
I know,
right?
But I'm like, talk about stress.
Yeah.
To be in a lawsuit like that's so public.
Yeah.
I mean, I would avoid that like the plague.
Yeah. This is a narrative I would very much like to be excluded from.
Exactly.
That's all I would say. And I would just walk away.
Yeah.
No drama.
Have you ever had anyone try to sue you?
I got in a car accident once and somebody tried to sue me. Yeah.
Was that stressful?
Yeah. But I knew she was lying. So
what do you do when you know someone's lying and they try to sue you based on a lie?
You just let the lawyers do the work.
Okay.
But it was hard for me to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not be like, you're a bad person. Like, I know you're not telling the truth. But the truth prevailed.
Okay. So it worked.
It worked out. I mean, I did rear end them, but this was like, oh my gosh, this was probably like 15 years ago. Yeah.
Never been in a car wreck. Knock on wood.
What?
Knock on wood.
I've totaled 3 cars.
Well, how?
Because don't ever ride with me.
Okay, good to know.
No, these are all when I was in high school.
Are you not a good driver?
I'm much better now. My sisters will say I'm not, but no, I didn't.
Why
used
not?
to be. I definitely should never. I've not gotten a license when I was 16.
Are you distracted when you drive, or what?
Yeah, but also to be fair, mental health things like kind of got in the way of my ability to focus on the road, and I probably should not have been.
Like, what do you mean, like breakups or like?
No, like my Tourette's and things like that.
Okay,
like, definitely led to some of those.
And I want to talk to you about Tourette's because this is also amazing. You are the newsmaker of Channel 2. You are absolutely gorgeous and amazing and so talented at everything you do. And you have done all this with Tourette's, which is amazing to be an on-air anchor with Tourette's because I don't really know a lot about it. And I don't, is there a level? Like, can it be mild to severe? where would you say you are on?
Now it's definitely more mild.
How do you get it to be mild?
A lot of times maturity and medication and behavioral therapy. Because Tourette's, as people get older, it does get better and able to management. But it was absolutely debilitating. Like,
really?
For most of my life, yeah.
Would you have is it like outbursts that happen that you can't control?
Yeah, there's a show on TLC right now that
I saw a preview for that.
I love her.
She looks, but like she would like say things that she can't
Hers
control.
are absolutely like a million times worse than mine. I mean, I can control mine, but I know when I have a tic coming on and I'm able to do, which I learned through behavioral therapy, I can do things to like quell that anxiety and that feeling. So like, for example, like right now, if I really wanted to do one, then I would be able to do like a modified version of it.
So what is a tic for you? Is it making you tick thinking about it?
No, usually my tics come about with intrusive thoughts.
Okay.
And things that comes from like a superstition almost that I don't want that to happen to me. So it's really hard anchoring the news. So if I read something that's bad that happened to like a child, then like that makes me like want to tick, because in my mind, if I don't do this, then it's going to happen to me.
Oh.
And so it's like these intrusive thoughts, and then these like
you have to do this.
You have to do it. So I figured out ways to
about mentally, you have to have a lot of mental fortitude.
Yeah. So I'll do things to like, kind of like fix it, like quell that little feeling. And then when I either have alone time later or something, and I'll let it out and I'll do what I really need to do.
So do you mind talking about like
what
are your tics? Like what do you need to do to get it out?
It's funny because they evolve. Like whenever I was a kid, again, they were way more severe. I would lie on the floor and I would tap the floor with my hands, and I would look up at the ceiling and I would blink and I would scream at the top of my lungs. And then I would pray out loud over and over. And I would repeat things, and I would count things over and over. It got so bad. My sisters, like one of my sister tells this story. It's funny now, when she would have friends over and I would be in my room just like doing my tics, and they would hear me screaming and they would say, "What is that? Is that your sister?" And Laura would say, "No, that's just a cat screaming." So she would pretend that it was like a cat like screaming in the house when it's just me, because it's like this really high pitched scream.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, I usually do that one at night a lot, like before bedtime. It's like the whole day's like stresses are like kind of coming to the top, and I almost have to like clear it out of my body in a weird way.
You have to like purge it.
Kind of, yeah.
You kind of like keep it in, and then you have to just like let it out.
Yeah, in a weird way.
Do you do it every day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you kind of have like a routine. Do you kind of have it in a system now?
Yeah, but I still they still pop up throughout the day. It's just I don't do them whenever without control like I used to. Before, I would be in classroom and I would do them. One of my tics when I was a kid was math was a big stressor for me. And a lot of times anxiety and stress brings my tics out even more. Like when I am stressed out, when I am anxious, my tics are a million times worse.
Which is crazy because you have such a high stress job.
I know.
And you are such a public figure doing so many things. So you really
it messes with you.
Are in the mix. You're really like you're in a pressure situation a lot with this.
Yeah. So pressure would be a big issue. And math was a pressure for me. And one of them was I would write my homework. I would erase it, and I would write it, and I would erase it over and over. There'd be like a hole in the paper. And so my dad would have to like write out my homework for me. This is all through middle school. I specifically remember this, like sitting at the dining room table, and he had to write out my homework.
Does it stress you out when you're having them, or is it a relief?
Yeah. No, it stresses me out because I need to do them. I have to do them. But then I'm consciously aware of everyone around me either watching or being annoyed or waiting for me to do them. I was late to school every single day because I was ticking out and doing all these weirdo things. And my mom and my family understood, of course. Like Nikki, they called them my habits. Nikki has to do her habits before she can leave. But then I would be late with my sister. And I was always late to school for ticking out. And if something happened, I would have to like start the whole tick over. And there's a lot of like OCD crossovers there too.
Do you know how it comes on?
Just how you get
diagnosed with Tourette's?
They don't know. It can be like maybe hereditary, maybe just like a chemical imbalance. I mean, it is a chemical imbalance, but like who knows how it manifests. I think everybody has like a little bit of a nervous tic or something, you know, like I've noticed my husband doing some things. I've noticed people sometimes blink and do things, and that's one of my tics as well. But I don't know. And nobody in my family that we know of has Tourette's. One of my grandmothers had OCD, and that's kind of along the same vein. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's something there. But
were you nervous when you started anchoring on the news?
No. And it's the weirdest thing because I never thought that I couldn't do that. Like it was never even like, oh, that's not something I should pursue because I have Tourette's. It was just not even a thought in my mind. And I think that's just a testament to my parents, because when I got to college, it got really, really bad. Because I was on medication. I was on all these pills I was able to control them through high school. And I was surrounded by this really great group of friends that if I was bullied, I don't really remember. Maybe I was just so insulated and I was like a popular kid. So I was really fortunate that way that I had this great support system. But then when I went to college, things changed because change is really hard for people with chemical imbalances like that to, get your routine going along again. And you feel anxious about leaving home. And you know how hard that is. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's all difficult. So when I went to college, things got really bad because my tics got really bad. And I became so depressed. I was suicidal. I didn't get out of bed for like 2 weeks. My roommates finally called my mom and were like, you need to come and get her. Like, this is not good. She hasn't gotten out of bed. Like, she hasn't gone to class. She hasn't showered or anything. My mom took me to the doctor, got me on all this medication, and I was taking like 19 pills twice a day. Like, it was a fistful of pills.
Man.
And I didn't want to kill myself anymore, but I was like a zombie, and I'd gained 30 pounds in a month. And my mom was finally like, this is not okay either. Like, this is not normal. No child should be like this. No adult should be like this. So she did all this research and helped wean me off of those and get me onto one pill, which is what I'm still on today.
That's amazing.
And through like therapy and support and immaturity helps a lot. I've been on those ever since. So I still had these tics all throughout college, and they would wane and wax and wane, and they would go up and down, and they would evolve and change. But when I knew what I wanted to do, which was to be in TV news, it was never like, oh, you shouldn't do that because you have Tourette's. Now, doctors did tell my parents, she's never going to have a regular person job. This will be a debilitating thing for her. She's never going to be able to they didn't say she's never going to be able to be a news anchor, but they never said yeah, this is going to be like how her life is. She's going to have to be able to cope with
this. You can't put those labels on
right?
people. Like, who has the right to put those labels on anyone?
And how do they know?
Yeah, how do they know what you can do?
It's almost good they did that.
It put a fire under you?
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I was kind of like, okay. Nobody's going to tell me what I can and can't do. It almost like propelled me and fueled me and, made me want to succeed.
And then after now being an anchor for so long, you're married, you have a kid. Mm-hmm. Do you feel more stable with it now?
I do.
Do you feel, is it more balanced? Do you think, is that what you're kind of saying with maturity? Like, cause your life kind of gets more stable?
Yes. And you get more confident in things. And then I also think it's with when you get your depression and your anxiety and those things under control, mm-hmm. then these other things are lessened, at least in my case. I know that's not the case for a lot of people with Tourette's. Like the Balin girl I was telling you about, bless her heart. I mean, she has the...
Is her show on TLC?
Yes. She has the type of Tourette's where she screams out cuss words. And I'd never had that kind. I just screamed out random things and tapped and blinked and grunted a whole lot. And sometimes would fall on the floor. But I can't imagine having the kind where you just like scream out in public cuss words. How debilitating that must be, What do you think, what strengths have you gained by navigating Tourette's? The desire to, if I'm going to do something, then I'm just going to do it. And I almost like it when people doubt me, it's almost like, it's a motivator for me. It's also made me be like, it's almost like a protector. So when I'm doing the news, a lot of what I read is really bad stuff. And it affects me a lot more since becoming a mom than it used to. And because I have to be so hyper-focused on what I'm reading, and then my ADD is also a big factor, it's almost like I'm so focused on what I'm reading that it's out of my mind when I'm done. And
you don't really let it sink in.
I don't really let it sink in.
Which is probably for the better.
It is. I think it's a self-preservation protective mode, because if I were to let it sink in and absorb it, it would keep me up at night and then I would tick. My husband always jokes. He's like, what's the weather like this weekend? And I'll say I don't know. He's like, don't they do the weather like every 15 minutes
On the
for
news?
3 hours for you? And I'm like, yes. And I hear it, but then like my brain has to switch and I have to be singularly focused on something else. And I can't absorb it because it'll
But
mess
that's
with me.
amazing that your body does that.
It's
that you
like a coping mechanism, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
But honestly, even if you didn't have Tourette's, I feel like you would have to do that with all the news. That I was going to ask you about that too. Aside from this, like, how do you handle knowing every single bad thing that's happening in our city?
It sucks so bad. And it's like the worst part about my job because I do genuinely love my job, but I hate that a lot of what we talk about is bad. I hate it. It's important. We need to tell people what's going on in their communities. And there are bad things that are happening and you can't ignore it just to protect people's mindset or to only portray rainbows and butterflies. It's important to talk about that. But we also need to talk about the good things that are going on because there's a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like one of the things you focus on is rescuing animals. Where did that come into how did that become such a spot near and dear to your heart? Because you are like passionate about rescuing animals.
Well, everybody has a thing, right? Like,
is that your number one thing?
That's my number one thing. Yeah. I think,
but that's heartbreaking too, but it's amazing, but there's redemption. And I think it's fixable. I think it's fixable. I think that if everyone would go and adopt dogs and foster and even just volunteer, I think that we could fix the animal crisis out there. I think if we stopped unnecessarily breeding dogs, especially these backyard breeders, I think that we would be able to reduce the pet population. And to answer your question about how I got started in it, my mom loves animals too. We would I remember specifically this dog we picked up off the side of the road. He was a stray. He had been shot by all these BB guns. Like he could barely walk. His name was Black Dog. And because he was a black dog?
He was Black Dog. And he had, the vet told us that he had just been eating rocks, so his teeth were like grinded down. I know, but we gave him the last like year of his life was like the best, you know.
And who's Grunt?
Grunt was our first family dog.
Because you wrote a children's book called Live Like Grunt.
Yeah, you guys have one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so good. Also, on your list of achievements, Nikki has written a children's book, Live Like Grunt.
To be fair, my dad wrote it.
He did?
Yeah.
He wanted to
write
write
it together. Well,
how did that come about? That's sweet.
Well, it started because when we were kids, my dad would try to teach us, my sisters and I, life lessons about how to be a good person. And, you know, he's a motivational speaker and he's a leader in all these ways.
And your dad, his career was in
the Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, like,
so he's very mentally strong.
Very strong. Yeah. He was actually just diagnosed with PTSD. So he's kind of going through a whole renaissance as well, like trying to heal that inner part of him. But growing up, a big part of, you know, any parent is trying to teach their kids how to be good people. And he realized, like, they're not listening to me. They're obsessed with this dog. Like, every time we would come home, it was like, oh, hey, Dad. Oh, Grunt. You know, you lie on the floor, just like kids do with your family dog. Like, you love your animal because they are just consistently always there for you and they love you regardless of anything that's going on. That unconditional love. And so my dad would put little notes on our lunchbox with like daily thoughts by Grunt, how to live a good life.
Daily thoughts by Grunt.
Yeah, it was Grunt's daily thoughts. And they would be in our lunchbox. And then we went off to college. He would email them to us. And it was always a picture of Grunt. Like one was Grunt like lying in the grass. And it was like, on warm days, don't forget to lie on your back in the grass and enjoy the sunshine or something. And it's a picture of Grunt out there. And after I had Andy, you're reading all these kids' books. And I thought, you know what? I wonder if my dad still has all those. So I called him and I said, do you still have Daily Thoughts by Grunt? And he said, yeah. So he emailed them to me and we added a whole bunch and we found a publisher and we put that into a book. So those are like the original thoughts my dad came up with.
How special was that?
Yeah.
Has it been so cool having a children's book out?
Yeah, it's really easy to do. Like everyone's like, oh my gosh, anybody can write it.
But you just get stuff done, Nikki.
Anybody can do it. You could write a children's book right now and get it published.
How?
You just have to contact a publisher and give them the idea. And if they say it's good, then yes, you do it.
Not everyone has good ideas.
Yes, you do. You can come up with an idea. Let's write one about Ruby and Sugar. And Kirby. Let's write one about Kirby.
Our bearded dragon, she has taken my life over.
That's what I'm saying. Write a children's book about Kirby.
What would Kirby tell people? I'd have to get a theme.
Daily Thoughts by Kirby.
Bask in the sun.
There you go.
Don't move too fast.
Yes.
She's always looking for food, though.
Same.
Shit wherever you feel like it.
Yep.
Poop on anybody.
Enjoy a bathtub.
Enjoy a bathtub.
Poop in the bathtub.
Yeah. Let it go. Let it go
Let it
whenever
go.
you need to. Don't hold back.
Don't hold back. See?
Be chill. She's chill.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Man, you should see her eat some roaches.
I saw her eat worms. She eat roaches too?
Roaches are next level.
Oh.
I fed her. So we go to the pet store and have to buy like alive roaches.
Oh my God.
It is so disgusting. So I fed her like 20 roaches the other day.
In one sitting?
Yeah.
Oh, girl can eat.
Oh yeah. And she like gets over and she like hunts them. And then she like sticks her little tongue out and grabs them and just munches them down. I'm like, oh. And then when she poops, it's just roaches coming out.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. I mean, it literally grosses me out. And now she's pooping all the time. I thought she was only supposed to poop once a week. She poops like every other day now.
Oh.
So I used to feel like way more confident holding her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, once a week poop. But now it's like, it's happening.
It's like you have a newborn again.
Yes.
Has she pooped on you?
She pooped on Michael and she pooped on Sunny.
Oh, no.
But not on me. Yeah.
Can I just say that you are the mom of the year? Because if my kid came to me and said, I want to get a beater dragon, I'd be like, absolutely not. Like, you can go get a fake one. Like, and you were like, yeah, let's do it. Not only am I going to do it, but I'm going to take care of it. This is going to be my thing.
I love creatures. So I grew up having so many creatures. I had like 2 pet rats, a pet mouse. We had 100 rabbits in our backyard.
See, this is why I love you too, because you love creatures. Like, I mean, I love creatures.
I love creatures.
Not lizard creatures, but I mean, I love Kirby.
I never knew I was well, you kind of think lizard people are kind of their own kind of breed of people, So I was like, am I a lizard person? I don't think I'm a lizard person.
No, you're not.
I've never really been a lizard person, but who knew that I would step right into it? And I love having a lizard.
She's so sweet.
It's fun. It's
just promise me something.
Okay.
We're not going to be snake people, okay?
Never.
Okay.
No.
You promise?
Yes.
Okay, so I will never be around you again. I won't.
I will not do a snake. No, I hate snakes and having to feed them mice. I love mice.
I know.
Like I love mice and I love hamsters.
Okay,
and like feeding a mouse to a rat.
We're not doing that.
No, never.
Like they don't have shoulders.
No. Like they don't have feet, arms.
They're demons. They're like little demons.
Well, I don't think they're demons.
I think they are. I understand they're an important part of the ecosystem and God put them here for a reason. They're just not my thing.
But like the serpent, they symbolize.
I think that's what it is.
Okay, so what are you loving the most about this year? What's going great for you right now?
Let's see. I mean, I don't know, because I've been wanting to talk to you about this specifically too, because I feel like you're so good at seeing people and saying, no, this is what you need to be doing. Like, you need to focus on this. I've been feeling so uninspired lately.
Me too.
Are you too? What is it?
I don't know. And I've been having a real crisis. It's been stressing Michael out because I'm like with this baby thing. I'm like, do I need to try to have a baby one more time at 41 years old after I've had 5 miscarriages? It's not a good idea.
It's been a hard
Everyone
journey
in
for
my
you.
family has told me, like my parents are like, don't do it. Like just enjoy what you have, because like it's hard when your family sees you go through all this. Like you went through your journey with Andy.
Yeah, but 5 miscarriages.
It's a lot. And then you're 41, but I'm like, is something missing? Should I try one more time? I can't close the door. Like I'm stressing about that.
You need to listen to your gut.
Because my gut changes though.
Really?
One day it will be 100% go for it. Do it. Try it. And just like try one more time. And the next day it's like, whew, girl, you got a great thing going. You are so lucky with Sunny. Like you just enjoy this. Don't stress out about it. Just like be happy with what you have, because I am.
Yeah, of course.
And I feel literally insane.
Just because you're happy with what you are doesn't mean you shouldn't try for something else. Those two are not.
But it's so risky at 41. And I know I would step up to anything that whatever came our way would be our blessing. But I'm also like, man, I am an emotional wreck. And like, like I don't know. I don't know if I can roll a dice. So I'm living, my stress is that I'm constantly stressing about that, because I feel like I'm giving myself like 3 months to think about this, and I'm officially closing the door.
Okay. That's a good timeline.
But it's like weird to just like shut the door.
I mean, don't shut the door.
Do you think a lot of women feel this way?
Yes.
Where you can't figure it out?
Yes. If I had a husband who would leave the door open for me, I would probably be in your same shoes.
But be glad that
Yeah.
he didn't. He's not.
Tell Michael to make the decision for you.
Well, he is starting to now, because I told him I wanted to leave the door open, and he's like, no, I don't think so. But then I was like, well.
See, that's the hard part.
I know. Okay, but I also feel uninspired.
Yeah,
I feel completely uninspired. I don't know.
I usually really enjoy social media and like creating
You're
stuff.
funny on social media.
Well, I used to be. You
still are.
Thank you. I used to love like just creating trends and like showing off clothes or whatever. And I've just been so annoyed and uninspired by everything. And I don't know why.
I feel the same way.
I usually have like 12 drafts in my phone. Like, oh, I'm going to do this next. And I have nothing. I'm annoyed by everyone and everything except for you.
Okay, good. Great. No, I feel the same way. Yeah. And Maddie, who does all of our content, Social Spark, if anyone needs a content creator. Yes. I don't know, Nikki. I don't know. Okay, but I want to go back to you get there at 3:00 when you do. We're gonna full circle back to your day at work. So you wake up alarm goes off at 2. Wake up at 2:30. Out the door. You get to work by 3. You do your own hair and makeup there.
Yes.
When are you finished with that?
So we go on air at my hair and makeup. I mean, I'm usually done like 20 minutes.
Okay, and you look great. Way to get that down to an art.
Well, once you get it going, like you can't mess around. You got to paint that stuff on.
Yeah,
get those bags under.
Do you own all your clothes, or do you do like a rent the runway?
I do rent the runway.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, I paused this month, but I usually do rent the runway.
I was gonna say, how do you have a different outfit every single day?
No, I don't. And I've also like realized the more outfits that I'm really gravitating towards lately are like piecing, like having like 4 basic bases that I love. Like I have a great black skirt, I have some great black pants. That I just rotate, and I have different tops.
Yeah.
And I found that's the easiest way to get dressed. Because if you have one piece that works, you can just alternate all the other little
And the bottom
variables.
piece is the hardest piece.
It is.
Yeah. Because like to get something to fit your bottom half correctly, it's like you got to find it.
I wear almost the same shoes almost every single day just because I find something that works.
Good.
So I go in. The first thing I do is make coffee when I get to work. And then I do my hair and makeup, and then I read over scripts. And sometimes I get to read over like the first few minutes, and then the rest of it I just do like while my co-anchor is reading or in the commercial break.
And when do y'all start the news?
4. We go on air at 4.
Okay. So you get there like 2:30? No, you get there at 3. So you get there an hour ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like kind of 30-ish minutes to get ready, have coffee, and then 30 minutes to prep.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes I don't get there till like 3:15, but yeah.
And then when is the news wrapped?
4 to 7 every day.
4 to 7 every day.
And then we have cut-ins in Good Morning America, and those cut-ins are at like 7:20, 8:20, and then 7:56 or 8:56.
So you lived an entire day by like 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And then I run home.
Your day's done at 8.
On air, it's done. Yeah. I usually run home after that, and I help get Andy ready for school, and then I take her to school.
You take her to school?
And I go back to work. Yeah.
What do you do when you go back to work?
Special projects. Like tomorrow I have a shoot with, actually, you would love this guy. His name's Thomas Maupin. Have you heard of him?
No.
He's a flat foot dancer. Oh my, I'm so fascinated by him. I was assigned this story, and I'm like, this guy, I love anybody who's like a master at what they do, and like how they love it. Like it's what feeds their soul, and that's what this guy does. I've never seen, it's like clogging, but with flat feet.
Okay. So what does that mean?
I don't know. I'm going to find out tomorrow. So that's a lot of what I do is after the morning show, I'll either work on a special project or,
And what is special? Didn't you like go film it and then they put it in the next segment the next day?
Not the next day. No, usually it's like usually we go film it and then I come back the next day and I log the sound and then we write it the next day. So I usually have like a week or so, a couple weeks to put it together.
Do you write did you produce it too?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I write it. You don't really have to produce individual segments. Like I just write it and then my photographer edits it together. So I put in the time codes for.
So you write the whole concept of what the piece will be.
I write the story. Yeah.
Man.
And then the editor and the photographer who do the real work, like they're the ones shooting it all, like I just take the sound from this person and I write the story around that person's sound.
What does that mean, the sound?
Like their interview. Like if I were to interview you right now and I would do a story about you, like I would ask about your life and, whatever the angle is that you're telling, like why am I interviewing you? Is it about your podcast? So it would be about like why you started the podcast. So the sound,
like the center point,
the sound bites. Yeah. So the sound bites that you gave me, I would plug those in and then I would write around your sound bites to like tell the story and get it down to like a minute and a half.
You're such a badass. Yes, you are. That's incredible. What is success to you?
Just being happy.
What is happiness for you?
Good family life and balance. It's used to be about like career and it's not anymore.
Same.
That's a big part of it. Don't get me wrong. And that's a huge part of my identity that I need to work on not being my whole identity. But, I would say happiness is just having like that life balance where you're happy with what you have. It's not about like constantly going for the next thing. For so long in my career, it was like going after like the next market, the next job, the next promotion. And now it's not at all. I am perfectly content and happy at the level I am. And I think it's because I found what I'm good at. And I can just, I don't want to say coast because that sounds like giving up, but it's not. It's
you're
just
fulfilled.
Being content. and you're happy.
That's amazing.
And and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Like you've reached the level that you feel it's like you're worth this. You're worth anything, but like this matches your worth.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I feel valued here.
Yes.
I feel like it matches where my soul wants to be. And you're there.
That's the perfect way to put it. You check all the boxes, right? Like you're balancing your home life and your financial and your family and your work. And it is such a delicate balance, and not every day is good, right? Like most days you fail at one of them because it's impossible to succeed at all of them. But when the average is that you're succeeding or you're happy in all of those things, then I think that's happiness, and that's success.
Amen. Yeah. How does one stay married for 10 years and happily married?
A lot of patience. Justin and I have been together, like you and Michael, for so long, and we just like really get each other. We both know that each other need our space. And our relationship in the beginning, we were long distance for like 7 years before we got engaged. And everyone's like, how are you guys doing this? I'm like, I think it's why we're successful, because I moved around a lot for my career and he stayed in DC, and we just knew. He was like, I know she's going to go chase her dream and do this, and I'm supportive, and I'm staying right here for whenever she's ready. I'm going to be right here. And I think our whole relationship has been like that. And when I moved down here to Nashville, he's like, yeah, let's do this. So this is where we're going to build our family.
He was ready to move to Nashville?
He wanted to move to Nashville before I did. I thought I was going to chase the network dream. I wanted to go to New York or
like do like a Good Morning America type thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's most people on TV, like that's what they say they want to do.
You could totally do that.
But now I don't want it.
Because it would take over your whole life.
I am so thankful that I didn't do that.
You are?
In fact, I was offered the job in Nashville and I almost turned it down. Thank God I didn't. Because I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. Like I want to go do this. I want to try New York. And my husband was like, I understand and I will support you and you can do that. But like everybody you love is in Tennessee. This job is a great job. Look at this house that we are about to buy. This is the life that you dreamed of. We were in DC and I was hustling, and he was like, you were unhappy all the time. You were stressed out. You were exhausted. You were working like 14-hour days. That's not sustainable. And he's right. And I've never been happier in my career and home life.
Nikki, that's awesome. Yeah. Way to get to the balance.
It's so hard. It's so hard. But I feel like everybody in their 20s and 30s, like, everyone's like, what's it like turning 40? I'm like, 40's been the best.
The best.
There's nothing like it.
I agree.
I think it's confidence too. And like let them. Like we're letting other people do whatever they want to do because it doesn't affect me, because I have this constant. I have my people around me. I have what makes me work, what makes me tick, and I have the support. And everything else is just kind of like small potatoes.
I love that so much,
Nikki.
Yeah. You're amazing.
I love you.
Thank you for coming on and chatting.
Thank you for, I always feel so weird when I'm on podcasts because I feel like I talk about myself the whole time, which I know is the purpose. But I will leave here and I'll be like, oh my God, did I talk too much?
It's a vulnerability hangover.
What is this?
A vulnerability hangover. I can't tell you all the people that have called me afterwards and like, should we just like not air that?
Really? Yeah. There's like this feeling of like narcissist. Like, am I a narcissist because I just talked about myself?
No. Here's the beauty in this. This is what is so wonderful about coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Because you who are on the news, who are this beautiful person who has this amazing life, when people can see the real life behind what we just see.
Yeah.
And you're so good about sharing stuff. I mean, you shared Andy's story, you share about Tourette's, you shared about your journey to your career and stuff. But like when people can really like get a glimpse and be like, man, okay, shit, they've like gone through it.
Yeah.
It's not been easy. Like they have struggles. Okay, I have this struggle. I felt like I was all alone, and now I'm seeing this person who moved through this and like overcame this, and now look at what they're doing, and it's not holding them back. Even when doctors said like you can't do something, it's like that's inspiring to people. People need to have inspiration, and I feel like I like to hear the whole story because I want to see the beginning to the end, where you started, where your mindset came from, what were your struggles, and then how did you navigate it, get lost in the middle of it, maybe overcome it, and then you actually get to a life where you're like, I really love what I've built here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to hear, to know that like it doesn't matter what you're up against, you can get to your dreams.
I need to remember that it's not about being self-indulgent. It's about like sharing your story, because
It's
I remember
inspiration.
being a kid and not knowing anyone who had Tourette's.
Like, what about a kid out there right now who's listening to this
Yeah.
and finds out that you, the news anchor of Channel 2 in Nashville, one of the biggest markets, this is gonna make me cry, has Tourette's, and like you're on the news. That is so inspirational.
I do hear from
people
moms
need to
who
know
say
that.
Because you're right. It is like, it's so easy to make fun of Tourette's. Like, I feel like that's the only time we hear about it. It's like a punchline, you know? And while the people who cuss, like that's very, very rare. It's mostly people like me. And you're right. I need to share it more.
Yeah. Because I mean, navigating that and figuring out how to like, and even how you say like you can now have a system with it, and you can kind of hold it in until the night, and you have your routine when you let it out, like knowing that you figured out a way to get it into a situation where you can like manage it. Like, that's good stuff for people to know.
Yeah, you're right. And it does get better.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nikki, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
I always wrap up with leave your light, and it's just super open-ended. Basically, what kind of inspiration do you want to leave with people?
Oh my gosh, Caroline. I don't know. What do most people say? What is like
It's just first thing that comes to mind.
can I quote Mel Robbins?
Yeah.
Like, just let them.
Yeah.
And it feels plagiaristic, but like, just
No, it's spot on.
just to have confidence in what you are, what you bring into the world, that what other people do or say cannot affect you, because it does not matter. And other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
That was a hard lesson for me to
Same.
learn.
I'm still learning it.
Me too. I used to make it my job to make sure other people's opinion of me was what I thought
Yes.
I wanted it to be, and I would work my ass off, like I said earlier in this podcast, to try to make sure everybody loved me.
Convince
I needed
them.
the whole world to love me.
Yeah.
If I thought one person didn't like me, it would just eat me alive.
It didn't matter all the people who loved you. You focused on the one person who didn't. Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, it's actually a testament to our character that people don't love us and that don't like us, because those aren't our people.
No.
And if the people who aren't our people love us, then we're frauds.
Totally. And I realized it with myself. There's some great people out there who they're not my flavor.
And that's okay.
You know, I don't want to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
It's not that like there's anything wrong with you. I just don't gel with you. And I don't really, it's not that I don't think you're bad. I just don't really like your flavor.
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way towards people. So why wouldn't people feel that way towards me? You know?
I think this is maturing.
I think it is. We're so wise. Look at us at 41. We've come a long
Finally
way.
figured it out.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
Nikki.
having me.
And where can everyone find you?
My Instagram is where I post a lot, just at Nikki Burdine, NIKKIBURDINE, and I do a little TikTok too. I need to get better about that.
Oh God, I can't.
You don't
I know.
like it?
Well, I'm too old, but I need.
No,
That's
you're
not
not.
an excuse. I know. I'm
not.
too old to want to do it, but that's not a
Yeah.
good excuse either.
It's fascinating.
Well, I wish I was fascinated by it,
We'll
but I'm
work on
not.
it. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
You're
me.
amazing, and y'all follow Nikki because you're funny on Instagram.
Thank
you
you.
do really funny videos and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which is fun to see what's going on behind the scenes as you news anchor.
I can't wait to be neighbors, and we can just create content all the time.
Okay, Neighbors podcast coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Nikki.
Bye.